Here we go, guys.
Spawning in the bottom right hand corner as the blue Protoss player. Playing for Raise Your Edge Gaming, it is Zest.
And spawn here at the top left corner of the map. Already looking to bring out some cheeky build. He is the one. He is the only. BYUN.
BYUN is like, oh yeah, Zest has been doing some greedy plays nowadays. I'm just gonna proxy him. And that works for me.
Well, to be honest, it works for everyone. I mean, it is always a great sight to see BYUN micro those initial few units. I mean, it is so much easier to micro units in the beginning of the game compared to in the late game where you gotta micro like 1,000,000 units. So, you know, there's a bit more micro potential there because you can micro each individual units a lot easier. And we see a second gas, which indicates to me
Reaper. Or maybe concussive shells?
or maybe a fast factory.
Ooh, that build. The TY build. The TY special.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's three STVs in the gas, so it must be something gas intensive.
Yeah. Concussive shells and factory. Factory has been dropped. So he wants to get his tech as soon as possible. He's now gonna drop another command center. He's gonna need that gas anyway. He needs probably a cyclone for defense very soon. So he needs the tech club next to the factory anyway. There's a bunker in a natural of Zest. In the meanwhile, completely unscouted. This single zealot is not gonna do much against it because he has to deal with the Reaper. Meanwhile, another Reaper is incoming from the Rex. Not gonna be concussive shells. That was a wrong call for me, but it's still going to be to that probes and even more. And look at this, the micro of this guy is just insane. There's a stalker and the Reaper is also gonna fall. As soon as I said that, BYUN misstepped. But there's the second Reaper making his way, ready to get into this bunker, which is just gonna be salvaged. That's the safest call from BYUN. Tech Club being dropped next to this factory, and here comes the Cyclone for defense. Second command center is gonna be dropped by BYUN, but overall, Zest, very good defense.
Yeah, I mean, considering that that bunker almost finished right before the Reaper went in. I mean, sniping out that Reaper was just huge. And now Zest is going to go ahead and try to get any damage done across the map. The Cyclone again should be able to thwart away these two stalkers though.
Yeah, the pylon on the high ground, ready to see what is gonna be the first unit in the main of BYUN. Is gonna keep that pylon there. He wants the high ground vision. Oh, that is weird. This zealot is definitely trying to keep up with the Cyclone, but these SCVs are gonna get us around. This grenade mine will just gonna help the Stalker, but finally the Stalker will fall, and so will the Zealot. Again, BYUN answers to the good defense of Zest with a good defense of his own. Yeah, well, not too shabby from both players. Both of them playing very good in this stage. The pylon is gonna go down. Zest is not gonna need that high ground vision anymore. There's two Cyclones out and the Reaper, and BYUN doesn't want to stay put. He wants to go for the map again, ready to deal some damage of his own.
Oh wait, there's no shield battery here. I'm a little bit worried for our blue Protoss. These Cyclones can just micro for days against, and Zest doesn't really have that much.
Yeah, he just has one gateway for production, and this force field will not get a good connection. Cyclones will waste their lock-on without getting anything done, but these gateways are finally up, and that means more warping units. One of the Cyclones is falling. This will be a disaster. Reaper will end the deal, but one of the Cyclones will fall as well. The other Soldier will fall. In the meanwhile, there's one Medivac trying to help this Reaper stay alive, microing his heart out, and that's GG. BYUN.
Oh my god.
What a legendary player.
Such high level micro there. Only
These-
BYUN. Only BYUN.
Talk about a head start
I
into
know.
these finals. Like both players not really trying to hide their hand. Both of them really going aggro on top of each other, and BYUN showing us the best plays he can do. And he's gonna get the lead in these finals. And will he keep it? Let's see it here in game number 2, heading on Pillars of Gold. Static defenses for CT. Yeah. Alright, let's be honest. Like, skipping that shield battery, that's a no for me. That's a
Yeah.
no.
I mean, if imagine he had that shield battery from the start. I mean, that would have been a pretty easy hold for Zest. But then all of a sudden it turned into a kind of a crazy micro situation where Zest just tapped out. He knew that, you know, slowly but surely he was going to lose Stalker after Stalker. He didn't have enough warpins. His gateways, I think he was a little bit away from being finished, so wasn't able to warp in those Stalkers. And unfortunately for him, it's kind of a terrible first game loss.
But let's see how he performs here in game number 2. That's a long map. That's finally somewhere where he can shine with his weird builds. Let's see if he does one of them here. Is the Blue Protoss. Bottom left hand corner, Pillars of Gold. Playing for Raise Your Edge Gaming. Make some noise. This is Zest.
And here, in the top right corner of the map, he's the red Terran player. Pulling out another cheeky build. It is the Micro King. It is a BYUN.
Oh, this time Zest will not be coming unprepared. Oh, have you seen the attempt of dropping down a supply depot? Alright, this SCV is gonna fall. Good micro from Zest. Overall, the 2 upcoming SCVs from BYUN are still gonna come over here and help his barracks finish. In the end, one of these SCVs is trying to put up a fight with the probes, and okay, the other SCV will survive and will hide behind these wrecks. Oh, BYUN. Oh. Close one. But the Reaper will start. It's gonna be a delayed one. Zest is gonna be having every single piece of the puzzle he needs to hold against this. Cybernetic score almost done. The Stalker is gonna be soon coming out of this gateway. Oh, and that works as well. But there's a factory coming from BYUN. It's basically the same build as the previous game. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And BYUN doesn't think it's broke.
But this time around, the barracks did get slowed down, so a little bit of advantage here for Zest.
Oh, and the Adept just pops out, ready to hunt down the Reaper. The Shade will complete, and the Reaper will go down. That's not good. There's no bunker as well. BYUN is gonna be making another Reaper, mostly for scouting purposes, I think, and then he's just gonna go back home and be ready to defend against the Zealot. Tech Clip added to the factory, ready to help making those Cyclones, which are gonna be mandatory for defense. And one SCV is actually to be used to repair the supply depot, which is dangerously close to burning down. Here comes the Reaper. Zealot will be running away, but this Reaper will always catch him no matter what. Oh, here comes the Adept. Oh, Reaper goes into the main. Adept will make its way over here. It's 2 Widow Mines. It's no Cyclone, that's a Reactor. That's my bad. So 2 Widow Mines to deal with this. Probably the most defensive choice he could go for. Maybe afraid of some Stargate play, but Zest is a little bit overwhelming right now. One Adept, one Stalker, one Zealot. All he misses is one Sentry over here to have the wide array of units. There's the Widow Mine ready to kill any unit. Oh, one of the Widow Mines actually gets knocked down by Zest. The other pops on the right side of the wall of. He's just burrowing down right now to kill the Zealot. Zealot goes down, but Stalker and Adept still standing. There's one Medivac over here as well. Second Stalker making his way through the map. And there's a Warp Prism. This supply depot is to be repaired once more. Another dead SCV, and that's a dead supply depot. Widowmine will try to burrow, but will fail at doing so. Zest wins just like that.
2 quick games.
GG gets cold. And we have yet to go past the 10 minutes total time in 2 different games.
Oh yeah, these guys are just going at it. They're like, no holds
Yep.
bar.
No prisoners. They don't care. Let's go into game number 3. The score is tied once more. So let's think of this as a best of 5 series.
Zest is like, you want to win a quick game in the beginning, in the first game? Let me go ahead and win a quick one here at the second game. And yep, we're heading into game number 3 with a 1-1 tied series.
Yeah, the philosophy of if you then broke, don't fix it, kind of didn't work this time for BYUN, did it? Like, Zest perfect defense and then just straight up going aggressively on top of BYUN. BYUN really not keeping up with what Zest was doing, really taking unfavorable trades, and the score is tied. We're now on Lightshade for game number 3. Here, in the bottom right hand corner, the one and only blue Protoss player of our hearts is gonna be trying to get his second victory in Alpha X Series Special, playing for Raise Your Edge Gaming. It is Zest.
And spawning here at the top left corner of the map, he's the red Terran player, recently back from the military and looking to get some victories under his belt. He is BYUN.
Well, he changed philosophy this game. He's like, well, if it breaks, still don't fix it.
If at first it doesn't succeed, try, and try even more times again.
He's gonna go for that proxy single Rex, ready to make some Reapers. And again, Zest is gonna witness this luck of a Rex in the main base of BYUN and be like, oh no, again? Oh, probe gets away from there. But that was a big surround from BYUN. The first Reaper is about to head out from these Rex while the SCVs makes his way through. This time, the Nexus is not gonna be up yet, so the probe is gonna be able to scout the SCV and stop it from dropping down a bunker. It's gonna be important, as well as this pylon here on the low ground. Both structures, meanwhile, are in the main for Zest. First Zealot has been made, and here he's standing next to the probes in the main, and it's time for the Cybernetic score to be up. Adept. It's gonna be the follow-up. Almost certainly, it's gonna be a Stalker, of course. Just to make me look like a fool. And BYUN is gonna go back home with just one Reaper. In the end, this wasn't committed at all. And the probe is trapped into the main of BYUN as well, and will go down after the Reaper has made his way back home.
Yeah, so we'll see what tech BYUN goes for. Now, I imagine with those 2 gases, he might go into Banshees, but I'm not sure. It could be anything, really.
That's an interesting scenario right now. Like, here comes the starport. There's no tech lab, no reactor yet. We're yet to see the first Widow Mine. It's gonna be important to deal with the Stalker or the Adept. Second Widow Mine, actually, to be quicker on defense this time. Oh, the Stalker will fall, actually. The Zealot is coming right now, so the Reaper will go back home while this Stalker is trying to chase it down. There's one Zealot trying to kill this one Widow Mine. Will probably fail at doing so. Widow Mines are deceptively fast at walking.
But the Stalker here probably won't get it just in time before the burrow, right?
Yeah, it won't. Here he comes, the burrow. The damage will go on top of the Zealot. Zealot goes down, and the Widow Mine will try to escape. Meanwhile, back home, this Reaper actually dealing damage over here. 2 probes have gone down, finding itself a little bit trapped. And, another probe goes down. That's some good micro from BYUN, and he will actually survive. That's pretty nice after killing 3 probes.
Yeah, 4 total kills on that Reaper. Nice. Let's see the resource, the units lost tab here. 4 probes, 1 Zealot, and 1 Stalker. On the Terran side, only 1 Widow Mine. So, yeah, throughout this whole game, definitely BYUN getting a nice little advantage here. But the real danger is these two Widow Mines that's about to drop into the main base. We'll see if Zest can react in time.
Jan already getting his marine production up to the task, and one Liberator and one tank is in arena making as well, ready to try and deal some damage. This Widow Mine will be spotted and will be shoot away. This observer is in a very nice spot. I really doubt this Widow Mine drop will do any damage whatsoever. So no blink, because there's no Tower Council, but there's already a Robo Bay. Robo Bay units need to be defended. You kind of need a bunch of Stalkers, and Stalkers to be effective need blink. So Zest cutting corners here and there to maybe have a Colossus out in case BYUN decides to go for something aggressive, but he's not gonna be able to defend it that great without blink. More Stalkers are coming. Zest is gonna be having to defend his third over here because there's one tank siege just in range. Meanwhile, the Widow Mine drop is still threatening. And where is the Liberator actually?
It's hiding in the bottom side, right in the main base area.
All Stalkers are going around, ready to hit on top of the tank. Here they go. The Guardian Shield gets used as well, but these Marines will not really cut past it. Tank goes down, and Zest takes a very good trade. There's another tanker heading a little bit ahead on himself. Meanwhile, Liberator and Widow Mines alike are starting to try and do stuff. The Liberator is not really cutting it. Finally gets a good siege up. Gonna get 3 probes alongside the 4 killed by the Widow Mine drop. And even those Stalkers are gonna fall without actually having blink. 2 Stalkers, 7 probes. Meanwhile, Zest is trying to attack though, and there's not much on the Terran side. No Cyclone for defense. That's a bunch of Marines and just one Marauder, but SCVs need to be pulled into the fight. There's Stalkers over here, and there's no Warp Prism, but this is not gonna be great for BYUN at all. Losing SCVs at this stage of the game is a disaster, and Zest has been killing every single unit that BYUN has been producing. In the meanwhile, another 4 probes are gonna fall, but BYUN is losing so many SCVs, 9 and counting. These Stalkers are not to be cleared yet. Marauders are trying to do their best. A good micro over here by Zest, trying to keep these Marauders out of these Stalkers' range. Bunker is gonna be cancelled, and in the end, Zest takes a wonderful, wonderful trade while Extender Thermal Lance and his first Colossus are ready to head out.
Yeah, gotta remember, Zest is working off of 3 bases. BYUN has yet to throw down his 3rd command center, so he might actually have to be forced to just go for an all-in, just like pull the SCVs and go for one last-ditch effort, because you know, once BYUN throws down that 3rd command center, I mean, Zest can probably even throw down his 4th. I mean, that's how ahead he is. So the only one big chance I think he has is just go for a one last big push.
He's trying to set up some units here in the top right, but Zest has such a powerful army already, and these units are gonna be instantly deleted by Zest. Loading up into the Medivac, ready to strike at a different position. There's not many shield batteries. Actually, there's no shield battery out for Zest, so it's not gonna be an easy way to deal with this Medivac. Buying time is of course gonna be important for BYUN to have a little bit more firepower in his army, but Zest is kind of doubling it down compared to his opponent. This Protoss army already has a ton of firepower. With 2 Colossi out, Extender Thermal Lance is almost done. BYUN trying to drop, but Stalkers are soon to be dealing with that anyway. There's still no blink, and I very much dislike it, but there's +1 and charge. So Zest is still gonna have some key upgrades. This one Colossus is gonna be saved by the shield battery. In the meanwhile, the main army of BYUN doesn't really get too much done. It was a pretty nice Widow Mine hit, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, it does get 2 stock sentries, which is like energy based, and it would be nice if Zest had that, you know, the Guardian Shield up, that force field potential, but really the kind of the heavy hitters are going to be the Colossus. So I mean, he did save it. His economy is rolling pretty nicely, as you can see from this income graph. And I think Zest is about to possibly hit a timing attack once He's got his upgrade. He is finally researching that blink that you were looking for. But BYUN is he's gonna have to make something happen because right now, Zest I think is kind of pretty decently ahead. And once that that big attack goes across the map, there's really little that BYUN can stop because he only has 2 tanks, which is not a scary force.
Yeah, I'm expecting an explosion of gateways as soon as this fourth is about to finish. And now that Blink is about to be done, these Medivacs cannot head outside of the main of BYUN too easily. We're still talking BYUN, we're still talking the Micro God, but in the end, Zest is not really shallow at doing that anyway. This Liberator is not gonna get much done, just 1 probe killed. And Zest takes another little bit of a victory. BYUN in the end is gonna be ahead of his opponent in supply, but that kind of always happens in this matchup. Zest is not gonna be keeping that up for too long once his explosion of gateways kicks in, and Shockwave EMP from BYUN, it's probably the best possible call he could make. Vikings ready to fight those Colossi as well. Now the Disruptors are out, we're gonna witness 2 hard to micro army, so the fights are gonna be very hard for both players to get ahead, and both armies can kind of disappear if their opponent plays good. Alright, Stalker's heading ahead, getting a lot of scouting information, catching the army of BYUN moving out, and maybe even getting 1 Viking. Here it is, and here is another Blink. It's that good. It immediately pays off for itself. I don't know why he didn't get it earlier. Anyway, EMP, Shockwave, upgrade is soon to be done, but this is still a force to be reckoned with. Zest still has a bunch of Stalkers and 2 Colossi, 4 Immortals actually, and he's already starting to make some Disruptors. That's a lot of tanks, that's a lot of Vikings, that's a lot of energy on these ghosts. Let's see how this fight goes. Tanks are starting to siege up over here next to the 4th base, but here comes a huge fight. The EMPs will go down on all of the army of Zest, but these Colossi are breaking through everything. Tanks are still dealing so much damage without EMP, without a shield, sorry. These Protoss units don't survive long, but there's still so much Protoss. BYUN wasn't really able to keep up. Here comes the reinforcements, but these units of BYUN are not enough to deal with Zest. Immortal still standing, 1 Colossus still standing, another Immortal is heading out of these robotics facilities, and the Disruptors are finally into business as well. Huge fight from Zest, big victory for the Protoss player.
Yeah, I actually would have loved to see him park the tanks on the high ground. But either way, like the 4 Immortals, the Blink Stalkers would have still been able to get on top of those tanks. It still would have been a really hard battle for BYUN. And now when you add in those Disruptors, the threat of the Disruptors, this is going to get exponentially hard for BYUN. But I mean, BYUN, he's a micro god. He might be able to possibly make magic happen.
Disruptors trying to get a little bit of damage in the mineral line of BYUN. This is still a free base Terran, the 4th one is soon to come, but Zest has just been out producing his opponent for so long. +3, +2 is in the making for the Protoss player as well, and he's gonna have an advantage in upgrades even more in a while. He already has a 1 upgrade advantage, getting to 3 is gonna be absolutely game ending. There's a no ghost with the army of BYUN right now, and Archons are out on the field. Oh, that's bad. That's very bad. There's no ghosts. Disruptors trying to bait BYUN into getting a huge shot. More Stalkers are gonna be worked in by Zest, who's actually maxed out right now. He's just gonna be moving out, and BYUN is probably just gonna do the same. Hail Mary from the Terran player. Doesn't have a lot back home to defend. This Liberator is helping against the Zealots, but these Archons and Stalkers are just getting on top of everything. Stalkers blinking forward, getting in the mineral line, and this Archon is gonna be dealing with everything else. In the meanwhile, BYUN is trying to eat in the natural of Zest. There's so many bio units, but in the main base, BYUN is losing everything else. Another playing forward. There's no units to defend over here. Shockwave EMP goes on a bunch of units from Zest, but in the end, all of his army is still too strong. BYUN calls the GG, and Zest gets the advantage in his best of 7 final.
Yeah,
Great game.
Yeah, it just seems like Zest might have BYUN's number. I mean, in the past history, I feel like Zest has been getting more victories against BYUN, more so, and vice versa. But yeah, he's gonna go ahead into this game number 4 with a 2-1 lead, and that's supposed to
Nice.
be a bit difficult there for BYUN.
Definitely going to try and get match point here on Submarine for the fourth map of our series. But BYUN is really showing up today. Like in the series versus Armani, even being at match point for his opponent, he didn't really struggle to, well, not being match point, being tied up by his opponent in the fourth game. He didn't really struggle to shake up his mind, collect his spots, and go for something different in the last game and getting that victory. He can do the same against Zest, but let Zest get into a huge army. He will feel so comfortable handling that, and he will feel so comfortable just brute forcing you through. That's how he plays, and that's what he's best at. Well, talking about him, let's get into introduction for our first player here leading the series 2-1 on the top left-hand corner of Submarine. The Blue Protoss playing for Raise Your Edge Gaming. It is Zest.
And here, spawning at the bottom right corner of the map, he's down 1 game, looking to tie up the series. Guys, send him your energy. Type in those hashtag BYUN in the chat. Give it up for BYUN. So we
Alright. First game, no proxy.
Oh yeah, this is just going straight into cybernetic core.
Yeah, that's a good call. Like, BYUN has been playing so aggressively in the first 2 games that just going core into Nexus instead of Nexus into core is probably just the best thing to do. I respect that decision. But
Yeah.
BYUN, he's just gonna standardize his play to a 1-1-1.
Yeah, I like how Zest is like adapting to kind of how the series has been going, and that's kind of the mark of a great player, right? I mean, you have those players that they play by the books, very technical, but in the ever-changing meta, in the ever-changing series, in the ever-changing game to game, you gotta adapt to your opponent's playstyle.
Yeah, especially heading on a map such as Submarine, such a short map, in which aggressive builds can go a long way into netting very quick and almost free victories. So, I very much respect the choice of Zest of adapting again in this way. I don't really respect this choice of not dropping down the Twilight console I've been talking about so much, but an early robo can probably mean he wants to go for something a little bit more aggressive. Who knows?
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting choice, because you usually see in the PvT matchup that it's going to be a Twilight opening and then into Robo, but I'm going to go ahead and open it with a Robo first. Now, this could be a lot of things. It could be a fast Warp Prism drop, or it could be fast Disruptors. I mean, I would love to see a Disruptor drop against, BYUN.
I would love to see that too, but you know what? Like even just one single Raven just completely shuts it down, and that's not something that Terran players really struggle to get. Anyway, that's a ton of Reapers and a Hellion in the natural of Zest trying to take damage. The Hellion will fall, the Reapers will escape. There's not much damage being dealt by the Terran player, but of course, just getting a little bit on map control and getting on the nerves of his opponent is gonna go a long way. It's an Observer first from Zest. Actually, it's 2 Observers. Meanwhile, the Reaper's diving again, not gonna get much again. So 2 Observers, no Twilight Console, just making Stalkers. What is Zest doing? Like, this build is suboptimal on so many different levels.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It seems like it's a build that is geared towards Banshee play directly, but it doesn't look like BYUN is even going for. Oh, wait, actually, he does throw down the tech lab, but it's a really late tech lab. I assume it's going to be for Ravens instead.
Yeah, same. I think the same too. He used the first tech lab to start producing tanks, so I doubt this will be for Banshees. It will be very bad if it was for Banshee. It's gonna be a Raven, of course. And meanwhile, Zest, I feel like he's playing a very frightened game. Like, he's playing a little bit too scared about BYUN going for something too weird. Of course, he's gonna be safe against everything right now. Like, there's not much that can really deal damage to him aside from a marine timing, which is not going to happen anytime soon. So it's just gonna go down, drop that Colossi, maybe drop a Twilight Council as soon as possible, and a third as soon as he's able to defend it. And having a lot of map vision can really help him even with this subpar army.
Alright, looks like it's going to be a kind of a 2-3-ish base Colossus build. He is going to delay the third base by a little bit just to get the Colossus tech out. We of course seen in the past where, because this map is pretty small, the Terran player would push with like maybe a tank, a Marine Marauder push of some sort. And having that earlier Colossus, I think really helps in defending against that. So I'm going to go ahead and just play it safe and standard.
Finally, we see that Twilight Council. We will need those upgrades to see Zest shine at his top level. BYUN is trying to set up for kind of a strong army ready to hit himself, but both players are kind of late on their expansion. Zest is gonna drop his at a 6-minute mark, a little bit later compared to what he does usually, but that's perfectly normal timing. Submarine can be a deceptive map, a map in which you don't want to really play greedy. Zest has played absolutely the opposite of greedy all this game long, and even though this is kind of a, take my words with a grain of salt, boring game, it is kind of setting up a new mood for the series. It is kind of slowing down a series that has been going way too fast in its first 3 games, and finally we see a game in which both players are given a chance to show really their best skills.
Yeah, not a lot of action right now throughout this game, but it's partly because I think Zest has been playing really defensive. I really love this setup. Like, he has all those observers on the south side, on the left south side, while he had his few stalkers parked out on the right side just in case there was any drops. So Zest playing super defensive. He's got himself a nice little Colossus ball there, and looks like BYUN is going to go ahead and try to put some pressure onto this third.
That's a bunch of tanks, so this is damage that can be dealt. There's at least 2 interference matrices on this Raven as well, so these Colossi cannot really head too much forward, and there's no blink. So the army of Zest is going to have a very tough time dealing with this. Zest needs to buy some time, plus 1 ground weapons. It's going to, of course, go a long way, as well as this Disruptor that has just been made. That's no oh yeah, there is extender thermalance. I didn't see that. But Templar Archives are, of course, gonna kick in slightly late, but it's gonna be before the Ghosts, so Archons are gonna be very good. Link finally gets started, but BYUN is already attacking. This can be deadly to Zest.
Zest does have a nice army force, but that was so close. That was so close.
Yeah, that was a good catch from BYUN. Getting the Disruptor before the Disruption Nova could kill off his army in a split second. There's Viking out already for BYUN to deal with these Colossi and the Observers, granting Zest vision of the main army. That's already a bunch of Winnow Mines to deal with the Zealots. Of course, these Disruptors are going to be the most important thing. Here comes the Raven ready to drop down the Interference Matrix. He says, here they go, or maybe not. Shibari Overcharge is gonna help these units stay alive. BYUN doesn't really want to play his end too much further than needed. Meanwhile, we're gonna drop down over here, ready to... Oh, the feedback on the Raven! Oh, no interference matrices for you, my friend. Zest, wonderful play over here. This army is not gonna do too much. Another feedback on top of one of the Medivacs. Here comes the Zealots, ready to charge on top of everything. Winnow Mines will stop them from doing too much. The Disruptor will not get much either, but the Zealots wrapping around the tanks as well as these Colossi heading on top of them is gonna be a full clear of both armies most likely. Stalkers are now heading back, but it doesn't look like BYUN can overstay his welcome. Oh, here comes the reinforcements. Actually, he can probably overstay his welcome. Zest, a little bit overzealous about dealing damage. Here comes the Disruption Nova, gonna get one Viking and a bunch of Bio. But now the Zealots have charged. They can charge on top of this Grand Army, but there's one tank in a very good position. Stalkers blinking forward, getting one of the tanks, the Disruptor, a little bit too ahead, but both tanks will fall. Zest buying some time, 6 more Stalkers in the making. His third base is completely exposed to the attacks of the Terran player. Another tank sieging up, Disruptor in danger, Stalkers falling, blinking backward. No shield battery is ready to help. This is a huge fight for BYUN, ready to strike down, ready to tie up the series. Stalkers blinking forward on top of the tank. It's only the Immortal left standing, and this is the army of Zest, vanishing to the blows of the Micro-Terran God. Another tank, more reinforcements, GG gets called, and BYUN will tie up the series.
I absolutely am surprised because it looks so good for Zest. I mean, he had the nice Colossus army. He had some charge light in the back coming with the flank side. I thought it actually looked pretty good for Zest, but I guess I was mistaken. Those tank position was just too good. And BYUN just managed to just absolutely destroy the big, huge Colossus army and take the win and tie up the series. Wow.
Not having Blink in that scenario was not great for him at all. Blink kicked in a little bit too late. Those feedbacks were insane from Zest. He was getting such a beautiful fight, wrapping around everything, but these tanks got so many free shots, he wasn't able to snap them down quickly enough. And in the end, tanks getting all of the Colossi, getting all of the Immortals, getting all of the Disruptors, getting the Templars, getting just about everything that was important to Zest in that moment. Only Stalkers were left, and once the reinforcements came from BYUN, no way he can deal with those.
Yeah, I mean, once you kill the Colossus and the heavy hitters, the Immortals, I mean, you're left with a bunch of gateway units, which doesn't really deal well against, you know, 1-1 bout army that could just micro back and kite your charge lot for days. And yeah, the momentum was just shifting towards BYUN's side, and Zest wasn't able to stop it in the end.
Score is tied again. This is a very close series. It's now time for game number 5. We're going on Oxide. These are the least preferred maps from both players, so things can get a little bit more wild from now onwards, or even more calm due to the players playing a little bit more on the setback instead of going down aggressively. We will see how it will go. Let's get into game number 5. Introducing our first player here in the bottom left-hand corner of Oxide is the Blue Protoss, playing for Raise Your Edge Gaming. It's considered to be the best is Zest.
And spawn here at the top right corner of the map, we have our lovely red Terran player. He just tied up the series, looking to break the series tie and lead at 3-2. Can he do it? Give it up for BYUN.
There's an SCV making its way through the map, but the Rex is already back home. That's most likely a scouting SCV. Oh, Zest is afraid of a proxy, so he will not send his probe pass. Oh, this is an NG blade block, actually. Oh, alright. Okay, that's 3 probes over there. No NG blade block for you, BYUN.
Yeah, we've seen BYUN do this to a couple of Protoss players where you just sends that early SCVs, block the natural for a bit, and kind of delays the economy of the Protoss. And of course, once you salvage the engineering bay, if you can delay it long enough, it pays off. So yeah, I think BYUN, one of the few Terrans that were utilizing this kind of opening.
Alright, hold on now though. Proxy Factory?
You know what? I'm feeling a Hellion drop incoming. And what a...
Drop.
Yeah, this is a great map to do it. I mean, the main base is large. There's a lot of dark areas. And it catches
Yeah.
Protoss off guard if they don't really actually scout this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was actually for a moment thinking, will he drop down a tech lab and just push insanely soon with tanks and marines? And maybe a bunch of marauders as well? It doesn't really look like he's going to do that. He's gonna be dropping down a starport as well, ready to go for the helium drop you were talking about. He has a bunch of marines back home for defense anyway. But that's a Stargate from Zest, proxied as well. So
We're gonna have
it
ourselves...
looks like the series is getting wilder, yes.
Yeah, proxy versus proxy.
And these are two kind of proxies which can really end the games on their own. There's a bunch of marines back home for BYUN. That's not enough to fight an oracle, not yet at least. Rather long too. But BYUN is also ready to deal his own damage. Third alien is about to be made over here. And it will be done as soon as the medivac, so it's gonna be a free alien drop. 3 aliens are enough to one-shot a probe, and that means damage, a lot of damage. While BYUN is sending his marines through the map, this oracle will also strike absolutely an undefended base. Oh, will he scout it? Oh, so slightly out of range. But in the end, marines will not scout it. Here comes BYUN, eating on 2 different side aliens in the main, already eating some of the probes. Economy of Zest in danger. The adepts are trying to wrap around, but here comes a good and quick collect of these aliens. One of them actually falls instantly to the adepts. Here comes the marines trying to deal with those few adepts and probes alike. In the meanwhile, Zest eating in the main of BYUN. That's a train of SCVs fleeing to nowhere. 5 of them have been killed. BYUN but some time for a bunch of marines to be ready. Here comes the oracle, not ready to deal any damage whatsoever. In the meanwhile, Widowmine will be killing the last adept. And these are marines against probes. That's not a great fight. Here comes a collect again from BYUN, ready to drop into another position. He will drop into the main, trying to deal with this one adept, dodging the shots of the adept with the medivac as well when needed. And now he goes back into the medivac, ready to attack again. And this marine just won't die. Probe will die instead. The oracle does the same. He's still surviving, still getting kills. 8 kills on this oracle. Bunch of marines and a bunch of workers alike. There's another adept out right now though. And this medivac doesn't have any more energy. In the end, BYUN takes the short stick. And he will be way too behind compared to his opponent. His worker count is so low. Another oracle still attacking over here. Still not falling. 8 SCPs and counting, falling down to the shots of this pulsar beam. And you know what? Zest doubling the supply of his opponent right now. Both in only workers. While his army is like actually bigger than the one of BYUN. That's not a good spot to be the Terran, right? Another pulsar beam activated by Zest. And finally those oracles will get away from there. BYUN setting up a Widowmine drop over here with this medivac. Oh, but I don't know, these stalkers are in position. Meanwhile, the Widowmine will go down just to be lifted by a phoenix. GG gets called, and Zest will be at match point.
Wow, a couple of minutes there of a little bit of chaos on both sides, but in the end, no answer for those oracles. So those oracles would have been able to just kind of pulsar beam BYUN to death.
Yeah, it was just a clash of 2 build orders, and in the end, Zest was a little bit more able to deal with the aggression of his opponent back home, and there was very little that BYUN could do against those oracles past a certain point. Very well deserved victory from Zest. He's heading into game number 6 with 2 chances of bringing this series back home and win the finals.
Oh.
What?
I'm playing against Zest.
Oh.
No worries. We'll just go ahead and quickly remake. But yeah, I am not at Zest's level, guys. So
Do your best, Newbie. We're all counting on you.
that's Terran.
Yeah, ask Darren.
But yeah, Zest is 1 game away from clinching the series. So BYUN, I mean, he's gonna have to win 2 in a row. Can he do it, guys? I'm not sure. Zest is looking really good right now.
Yeah, it looks really like a hard task to do. BYUN has showed in the past series that you can really bring up his A game, but Zest is playing like a madman today. His first series against Solar was just a huge show of strength. He just completely bopped Solar, which is an insanely good player, so not an easy task. And now he's showing up in what is supposed to be his worst matchup in a very powerful way, in a very refreshing way as well, not getting to that Twilight Council like most players do. It looks like it's working out for him, and his defense has been absolutely outstanding throughout this series.
Yeah, I mean, throughout this series, it seems like Zest just has better defensive game. Like BYUN has been trying to cheese him, trying to drop him, but Zest just somehow has really great vision and great army positioning, and has been able to kind of throw off any of BYUN's early game harassment. So yeah, just really highlighting kind of the great defensive player that Zest is.
Yeah, when needed to be, he can be everything. This guy spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Jagannatha. The Blue Protoss, he needs to win just one. He's at match point in his best of 7 finals, ready to get his second victory in the Alpha X Series Special. Here he comes. Make some noise for Raise Your Edge Gaming, Zest.
And here at the top left corner, or not top left, top right corner of the map, excuse me guys, it is the red Terran player. Only a few months back, guys. He's just been playing only a few months. Pretty crazy, guys. It is BYUN. Oh man, I love the chat.
Zest is known as best in some circles. What do you mean in some circles? In all circles. Zest's best is low and is ready to show it up with a proxy target, even more proxy this time.
Oh my goodness, we've seen. Oh my god, this Reaper!
Yeah.
Oh, what a perfect scouting. I was about to say, like, we've seen kind of Protosses bring out these proxy Void Ray rushes, and seems like BYUN will be able to luck out with the Reaper pathing.
I mean, probably Zest right now is thinking, what was I thinking about putting a pylon and a target just outside of the Reaper cliff? Like, the probe will go down. Was there any way in which BYUN wouldn't have scouted it? There's one adept out right now. And Shield Battery back home as well to defend against any kind of aggressive play from BYUN. Becomes the first Void Ray. Actually, this might be better than I was supposing it to be. The adept will go into the natural to stop his SCV from dropping out the bunker. He will stop it just 3 health before it is done. In the end, it will be finished, but just delayed by a little bit. Here comes the first Void Ray, and here comes the first Shield Battery. This is gonna be one of those games, guys.
Yeah, this is actually really tough to hold, but so far, BYUN getting some nice bunkers up, but that supply depot is going to be undefended.
Yeah, prismatic alignment activated, the supply depot will just go down. Oh my god, it's not going down. It's already in health. There's still no shield batteries to help these Void Rays stay alive. The adept is still up and standing. Goodbye, supply depot. It's now the turn of the barracks to get some damage being dealt. It looks like Zest will be keeping this Void Ray alive with 2 shield batteries. Second Void Ray is also out as well. BYUN is in real danger. He's trying to get these wrecks out of danger But Zest doesn't care. He will take every damage he can get. And it's now time for the supply depot to get some damage on top of it. These SCVs will barely repair the damage of these Void Rays. The Cyclone is also going to be very important with the range and of course with the damage that he can deal. Here comes a lock-on top of the Adept, which will try to shade away from there. Another SCV is gonna fall in the natural. Meanwhile, Zest still eating at the supply depot, but his Void Rays just won't die. Here comes the third one. Shield Battery is helping a ton with that, and now it's probably time for that one poor little supply depot to fall. SCVs are dying as well. 2 Cyclones are out right now, and Prismatic Alignment will be activated to try and kill one of them. That's a big dive from Zest, sacrificing one of his Void Rays to kill that one Cyclone. I don't know about that. In the end, Zest way too behind in supply. Here comes the Dark Shrine follow-up from the Protoss player. Will it be enough? There's so many SCVs on repair duty. Shield Battery is gonna be helping these Void Rays to stay alive. Goodbye, Bunker. It's time for the Marines to die right now. Zest heading forward. That's a very good defender position though. There's 2 Cyclones. Magnetite Accelerator is almost done for BYUN as well. It's gonna be more damage, more quickly from these Cyclones, and these Shield Batteries are almost all out of juice. The 2 Void Rays under attack almost barely die, but here one of them will in the end die. 2 more Cyclones in production. It looks like BYUN is holding Dark Shrine. Is the last Hail Mary from the Protoss player, but it has been scouted. We will see. Right now, BYUN saving energy from both these orbital commands. 2 Adepts making their way into the main base of BYUN. Shade will be cancelled. Another Void Ray is in the making, but this is not a good position for the Protoss player.
Yeah, 4 Cyclones out. It's going to get really tough for him. Although there are some nice sneaky little Adepts, but does not attack at the same time as the Void Rays, so these Cyclones will be able to easily pick them off, no problem. And here comes the DTs.
The Templars going past the Cyclones, ready to hit in the main. There's so many Cyclones out, ready to deal with the Void Rays. One of the Warriors gets under the lock-on, but here comes the Dark Templar. Immediate scan from BYUN, losing 7 SCVs and a Cyclone. Not the best possible outcome for him, but he will get 1 more Void Ray. 10 total SCVs have died after these Dark Templars started popping out of these gateways. Another Dark Templar will be killed, another one will be produced. These Cyclones just out of range of pretty much everything. Will get a lock-on top of one of the Shield Battery, but that's another scan and another dead Dark Templar. Another Dark Templar just stands at the edge of the scan, but will be scouted whatsoever. Oh my, this looks like GG will be called. Game number 7, everybody. Score is tied 3-3.
Oh my god, this is so insane. What a hold there by BYUN. I've seen so many Terran players have so much trouble against this build, and BYUN, what a monster defense there. And he will push it to a 7th and decisive game to decide who will come out victorious in this Alpha X Series Special 15th edition.
This series has been so crazy from start to finish. Everything was so wild from the get-go. Those first 2 games ending before the 5th minute mark. Then proxies coming from BYUN. Then huge attacks here, before on Submarine. Then here, this proxy. Then the double proxy from both players. This series had everything. Like, literally everything. It was so good from start to finish. So engaging. 2 players really showing up their best end. And we're gonna get a game number 7, well deserved here on Romanticide. The players are ready, I am too. I am eager. Let's get this game number 7 to decide who's gonna be Alpha X Series Special 15th Edition champion.
Man, before the series, I would have guessed that Zest would take the series, maybe even 4-2, just because Zest seems to do better against BYUN compared to BYUN doing better against Zest. So I would have predicted 4-2, but coming into the 7th game here, I don't know. It's looking pretty even. I think it could go either way.
Oh, this is the game that will decide everything. One game to rule them all. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner as the blue Protoss player. And in front Korea, playing for Raise Your Edge Gaming, it is Zest.
And spawning here at the top left corner of the map, he's the red Terran player. Can he pull out the win and become victorious? It is the one, the only BYUN.
It all will end just like it started, right? Here comes the proxy.
Yeah, this time Zest's not going to be able to scout it.
Yeah, just behind this mineral wall will be the proxy, ready to drop a couple Reapers to slow down Zest on his tracks. Will he drop the 7-8 score before the Nexus? Yes, like he totally adapted to the way BYUN is playing this series. I like he started to play a little bit more defensively, but this has not been really paying off. Another on Submarine, and of course, it didn't pay off in the last game either, where he played so aggressively, and BYUN did such a wonderful hold. Proxied Factory as well. I think BYUN is kind of holding here.
Yeah, I mean, he is pretty much committed. He got the 2 gases, 3 SCVs on each gas. I mean, the good thing for him is that none of this has been scouted. Zest has not scouted it. The proxy, I as well as not sent a probe across the map to see the main base of BYUN. So he's gonna scout this very, very, very late, if at all. And this could be disastrous if he does not see what is coming, because this tank push that I'm assuming that's going to happen, maybe a cyclone push, it's going to be really, really strong. First Adept will be making his way across the map. This is going to be the first inkling of that something is very, very off.
And that's something that is off right now, is BYUN actually building every single one of his production facility on the Zest side of the map. Like, he went for a proxy barracks. We were like, yo, okay, it's gonna be Reapers, a proxy. Now he's gonna build his factory in his main. Then he built his factory over there. Oh wow, this is huge. But now he's gonna build his starport in the main. And then he went like, no. My base is in your base now. And BYUN, Cyclones, Medivacs, Marines, every single piece of the puzzle is out right now. This Cyclone is looking for the Adept, and now Zest knows how wrong he was to expect something normal out of BYUN. Goodbye, Adept. There's not much in terms of defenses for Zest, and BYUN is about to hit with his all fury on top of the Protoss player. Shield battery is out there this time, but this Cyclone already gets a lock on cancel. There's one Immortal ready to deal with the Marines. SCV will go down. No way to repair this Cyclone this time. And it will be collected by the Medivac. Tank is out. This is not gonna be easy. Zest has few units, but it's very powerful with these Immortal. 2 more Stalkers are gonna be warped in. There's still a shield battery ready to help. BYUN will retreat back to his proxy. And this is looking already like a very wild game.
I wouldn't be surprised if BYUN just pull all the boys right now. He is going to go ahead and try to buy some time to drop and then kind of build up that tank count. Once the tank count gets to maybe like 3 or more, it gets really scary for Zest. But Zest, he opened up with a Robo first. He's going to be able to make and continuously make those Immortals, even adding a War Prism to possibly drop those Immortals on top of those tanks.
And talking about slowing his opponent down, getting that kill on top of the pattern, already got a supply block on Zest. That's always good to get. Third tank almost done. There's still 1 Cyclone, 1 Liberator as well to just make these Immortals a little bit less scary. But the War Prism will drop the Immortals here on the production facilities of BYUN, or even get us around, a wrap around. Marines are trying the War Prism goes down. The Immortals are trapped in behind the enemy lines. Tanks will go down, but so will the Immortal. 1 tank still standing, so does the Liberator. And now it's time for the Marines to chase down the War Prism, the Immortal. Without the War Prism, one of the tank gets a little too ahead of himself, will fall down, but the other tank is dealing so much damage. Marines getting forward, getting the damage, getting on top of the Stalker. This Medivac will help with that as well. Both the Liberator and the tank will unsiege, ready to siege closer to this natural of Zest. Zest is losing every single one of his probes here in the natural. These last few Stalkers won't last long either, but it look like 2 more will be whooped in. BYUN gets away from there, but the Liberator is now ready to head forward again. This Mortal will go down, but not before killing the last tank out of BYUN. Is it enough? It is not. BYUN is your Alpha X Series special winner today, getting the win in the finals for free to Zest in a wonderful, wonderful manner.